Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego, and welcome to another fantastic Green Card K1 visa video. This is a real-time video on how to fill out USCIS form I-485. Now, I'm going to use my beautiful wife Karina from Venezuela as an example, and I'm going to go through every single page and make it as easy as possible for you to understand how to fill out this adjustment of status paperwork. Remember, when you arrive in the United States, you must get married within 90 days, as within the time frame on your form I-94, which is going to be issued to you by the Customs and Border Patrol. Look at your I-94 after you get to America. Look at the window of time you have, and that's the amount of time you have to get married. If you don't get married within the 90 days on the I-94, you have to leave the United States of America, or you're going to get in big trouble. So come on along, and I will go over the USCIS form I-485. Just imagine it's Karina, my beautiful wife, and let's get started. And pay attention, class. So the first thing you want to do is go online and type in USCIS form I-485, and lo and behold, the website will pop up. Application to register permanent residence or adjust status. Click on the form and make sure you got the correct expiration date. Make sure the form hasn't expired. Make sure the addition date is correct. And then you're going to come down and start with your current legal name, which is your married name if you're a female. So Karina is now Karina Ross. So she typed in there Ross, Karina, and her middle name. And then her family name was her maiden name before she got married to me. Her maiden name, her given name Karina, and then her middle name once again. And then after she filled that out, she put in her date of birth, month, day, year. And they asked her, have you ever used any other date of birth? And she said, no, I have never used another date of birth. Okay, very easy. That was page 1. And come on down to part 1, information about you. You're going to put in there your alien registration number. Do you have an alien registration number? Well, yeah, it's on your NOA2 letter. And then you're going to put in there, have you ever used or been assigned any other alien number? No, she's a female. And where was she born? Well, Karina was born in Caracas, which is in the beautiful country of Venezuela. So she was born in Caracas, Venezuela. So she typed in there Caracas, okay, Venezuela. And then what is her country of citizenship or country of nationality? Well, Karina is Venezuelan. So she types in there country of nationality is Venezuela. And if you have a USCIS online access number, you put it in right here. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. And then down below that, she typed in her passport number off of her passport from her biographic page. That goes in there. And then the expiration date of her passport by month, day, year. That goes right there. And then the country that issued her passport was Venezuela. And then the date her K1 visa was issued, that goes in there. And then the date and place of last arrival in the United States. Well, we arrived in Miami, Florida on January 3rd, 2024. And she was inspected at a port of entry and admitted under a K1. So you type K1 right there under that block. Now, moving on down to page 3. If you were issued an I-94 number, which everybody who is a foreign national gets issued an I-94, you put in your I-94 number, but you're going to put your family name first, which is the maiden name. So Karina's maiden name went in there first. And her given name is Karina, and then underneath that she put in her I-94 arrival record number. You can get that off of the Border Patrol website. Just click on the Border Patrol website and look up your I-94 number. And the expiration date of her I-94 was it was 3 months from January 3rd of 2024. So that was in March of 2024. And she came in to the United States. Her class of admission was K1. And then, was your last arrival the first time she ever entered the United States? Yes. And what is your current immigration status? Well, she's under K1 back then. And then what was the expiration date of her immigration status? That is the expiration date on the form I-94. Okay? And then they asked her, have you ever been issued a crewman, alien crewman visa? No, she's not a crewman. She's never been on a ship. And then you go down here and put in here your current physical address in the United States. So that's where she lives here. And you put NA in care of, if that applies to you. And then she wrote in her address here in Florida. And I just put Miami. We don't live in Miami, but we just put Miami in there. Florida, and the zip code, whatever that might be, depends on whichever city it is that you live in. That's the zip code you're going to put in there. And then they ask right here the date you first started residing at this address. Well, that's the day she arrived in the United States, which was January 3rd, 2024. The day she arrived in Miami, the day the plane touched down in Miami, was when she started living here. Is this her current mailing address? Yes, it is. And boom. Now we're going to move on down to page 4, information about you. This is the beneficiary, the person applying for lawful permanent residency. Okay. Have you resided at your current address for the last 5 years? Well, no, she hasn't. Karina lived in Bogota, Colombia before she lived here in Florida. So where did she live in Bogota, Colombia? She lived on this calle, this street number. The city or town was Bogota. And from 2000, whenever she moved to Colombia, 2018, to when she relocated to the United States, which was January 3rd, 2024. And then she puts the address in there, Bogota, the postal code, the country, Colombia, and then the date of residence from well, July of 2018 until she moved to the United States, which was January 3rd, 2024. Okay, so you got to put where you lived for the last 5 years, whatever that country that was. Very important. You make sure that you do that. Okay. And the next question they ask you is, has the Social Security Administration ever officially issued you a Social Security card? And Karina and I went to the Social Security office and took a number and applied for her Social Security number with her I-94 and her passport. So she checked the box. Yes, she was issued a Social Security card. It took about 10 days to get here. And it was in her maiden name, okay, to start with. All you want is the number, first of all, so you can open up bank accounts and stuff like that. Then they ask you, do you want the Social Security Administration to issue you your Social Security card? If you want that, you can check yes there. Okay, now, Part 2, application, type of filing category. Are you filing for adjustment of status with the Executive Office of Immigration Review? No. The receipt number will be NA because it's got nothing to do with Karina and the K1 visa. The priority date is NA because K1 visas are not issued a priority date. And you are filing, Karina filed as the principal applicant for the K1, for the adjustment of status. She is the principal applicant. And her family name is her married name. And her given name, Karina, and then her middle name goes in there. Okay, that's the principal applicant's name. And then below that, the alien number, which you can get off of the NOA2 letter, and Karina's date of birth, right there. Okay, there we go. Now, carrying on with this paperwork. This is a family-based application, so she is the spouse of a U.S. citizen. Okay, right there. So we'll continue with the form. You check the box, spouse of a U.S. citizen. If you are bringing a child over, if a K2 is filling out this form, you check the box, unmarried child under 21 years of age of a U.S. citizen. Okay, that's page 3. Now we're coming down to page 4, part 2, the application type or filing category. So you're going to just read over these questions here, and you're going to find out that none of those apply to you when you're applying for a K1 visa. So you're just going to page on down, page on down, page on down. None of this is irrelevant. Then you're going to click on page 7, the application type of filing category continued. Are you an asylee or a refugee? No. So you're going to come all the way down, keep going, keep coming down, and you're going to check the box right here. None of these categories apply to me. Okay, none of this applies to you, so make sure you check the box that none of this applies to you right here. Just go ahead and hit that box, and there you go. Carrying on with this form, you're going to page down some more, and we're going to come on to part 4, additional information about you. Have you ever applied for an immigrant visa abroad before? If you're on a K1, you're going to put no. You've never done this before. And if you were under a spousal visa, that would be different. And have you previously applied for a permanent residency before? No. Karina's never applied before. Have you ever held lawful permanent residency before? No. Karina's never held a green card before. And then you're going to put in here, Karina's going to put in here her employment and or school, where she worked in Colombia, and the schools that she went to in Venezuela. So she worked as a manager of an ice cream store franchise for 6 years, and then she also graduated with an equivalency of a degree in tax accounting from a university in Venezuela. So you want to make sure you put all the information in there of where you used to work, Mr. Beneficiary, Mr. Beneficiary, and you want to make sure you put in there your education. Immigration want to know what your education level is. Okay, and make sure you put in the address of the school where you went to and the address of your employer. Now you're going to go on to information about your parents. These are the beneficiaries' parents, okay? The foreign nationals' parents. Parent number 1 could be your mom or your dad. You decide. The family name, date of birth, given name, middle name. And then, if it's different from above, you put in the other name that your mom or dad used. Then you're going to put parent number 2. Or actually, you're going to put where she was born. Well, Karina's mom was born in Venezuela, and her dad was born in Venezuela. So when we go on to information about parent number 2, that's going to be about her dad. His last name, his first name, his middle name. He hasn't used any other names. His date of birth and his country of birth, where he was born, is in Venezuela. Immigration want to know who your mom and who your dad are. If you don't know who they are, you put unknown. Okay, don't put NA. If you don't know, you put unknown. Just spell it out, unknown. Okay, very important that you put something in there. Don't leave it blank. You don't want to leave any spaces blank on your application to adjust status. So Karina's dad was born in Caracas, Venezuela. She put in there his date of birth, etc., etc. Okay, moving on down, information about your current marriage. Okay, well, you're going to put in your current spouse's legal name. Well, I am Karina's spouse. So she put in my last name. And how many times has she been married? 1 time. They ask right there, question 3, part 6. How many times have you been married? Well, Karina's been married 1 time to me. And I'm Diego. Okay? Now this form is just for demonstration purposes, okay? So it's just for demonstration purposes. Ross, Diego, middle name, my date of birth. And if you are a naturalized American, you put in your spouse's naturalization number, because you got to be a U.S. citizen to apply for a K1 visa, and naturalized Americans can do that. Current spouse's country of birth, you put in there where he or she was born. and then you go down to the current spouse's current physical address. Right here, we'll put, let's say Miami. We don't live in Miami, but that's just an example. And the state is Florida, and then you throw in the zip code. And those addresses must match. That address, the spouse's address, must match those of the beneficiary's new address in the United States. Okay, if they don't, there's going to be a problem. Coming on down, part 6, information about your marital history. Where did we get married? Well, we got married on the beach in Florida in a town called Navarre. So state or province, Florida. Country was where? The United States. And when did we get married? Well, we got married on January 14th, 2024. And is your current spouse applying with you? No, I am not applying with Karina. I'm already a U.S. citizen. So Karina checked the box. No, I am not applying with her. Okay. Information about prior marriages. Now, this is question 11. This is the beneficiary. Have you, foreign national, Miss Beneficiary, Mr. Beneficiary, ever been married before? If you have never been married before, you're going to put NA in every single block. Okay. Family name, given name, middle name, NA, NA, NA. Everything's going to be NA. Now, if you have been married before, Miss Beneficiary, Mr. Beneficiary, this is where you're going to put the information that immigration want to see. The name of your past husband or wife, where you got married, whether it was in the United States or not, what country where you got married in. But if you are first time up to bat getting married to your American citizen sponsor, you just put NA in all those fields. Don't leave anything blank when you fill out this form. And we're on page 11 of 24. We're all, halfway through it almost. And you can do it. This form's easy. You don't need an immigration attorney to fill out this form. You can do it yourself. Or you can watch this video and learn how to do it yourself. Moving on to page 12, if you have any children, Miss Beneficiary, this is where you are going to put that information. This pertains to the beneficiary. Okay? So if you came over and brought some K2 children with you, that's fine. You're going to put the information here. It could be your biological child, or you adopted somebody in your country of origin, okay, and or current stepchildren. So now you are married to an American citizen. You may have, created stepchildren in your family. If you don't have any children, if you're brand new without any children, you just put NA, NA, NA. But if you have a biological child or an adopted child or a stepchild, you're going to put the information under Part 7, information about your children. But if you don't have any children, like I said, don't leave any blocks unfilled. Put N/A. This will save you a bunch of headaches with immigration, because they can whisk through this form much quicker if they can see that nothing applies. Okay? They can just, their eyes will scan through the paperwork. And they ask you, is the child applying on a separate form I-485? Well, yes. If you bring a K2 over to the United States, the child is going to fill out, well, you're going to help, if depending on how old the child is, you're going to file a separate adjustment of status paperwork for your child. So you're going to put yes. If you don't have any children, you put no. Moving on down, you're going to put your ethnicity in here. And Karina is Hispanic. She's Latina. So she checked the box. She's Hispanic because she's from Venezuela. You can put in there whether you're white, whether you're black, Native Hawaiian, Asian, whatever. You can check your race, your height, how tall are you, how much do you weigh, and your eye color, brown. Karina's got brown eyes. And what's her hair color? Well, she's got brown hair. You fill it out. And then you kind of move on down. Part 9, general eligibility and inadmissibility grounds. Okay, have you ever been a member or involved in any associations or groups or clubs, etc.? Well, Karina has never been a member of any club or anything, so she checked the box no. If you have been a member of a club or an organization in your home country, you check yes, and then you identify the organization right here. Okay, This is page, you can see right here on which page we're on. Now we're moving on to Part 9, General Eligibility, Inadmissibility Grounds, continued. And immigration is going to ask you a bunch of questions. Have you ever been denied a admission to the United States, etc., etc.? Karina said no, 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 no. She checked no in all these boxes because none of this is a no. Okay, but you got to read the questions carefully, and you got to check the box honestly, and don't lie on your paperwork. Okay. Question: criminal acts and violations. Have you ever been arrested, charged, etc.? No, Karina has never been arrested or charged or been in any trouble. And then moving on to page 15, general eligibility, inadmissibility grounds, continued. No, 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 no. She checked no on all these questions. So Karina said no, she's never been in any trouble. She's never done any of the things on these questions, but you got to answer the questions honestly. Have you ever trafficked a person into the United States? No, no, no. And the questions continue, general eligibility, inadmissibility grounds, checking no, 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 but you got to read the questions. Now we're going on to security-related questions, okay? Security-related. And they ask her, do you intend to engage in any activity that violates or evades any law relating to etc., etc.? Answer all these questions honestly and truthfully. Read the questions carefully and check the box. Karina checked no for every question because none of this applied to her because she never did any of these things. Especially being from Venezuela, she got the heck out of Venezuela because it turned into a socialist communist dictatorship, so she relocated to Colombia to be a free person. Okay, so she's never been in any of these communist parties or anything like that. And if you are a member of the Communist Party, you're not going to get your green card. General eligibility and inadmissibility grounds continues. And we read the questions. Karina read the questions. Her translator translated them for her. And she checked no, no, no. Okay. This is easy form to fill out, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You just got to pay attention. That was page 17. Now we're going to move on down to page 18. Continuing on with general eligibility and inadmissibility grounds. Public charge. Now, if you are a public charge, if you need the government assistance, okay, Mr. Beneficiary, to survive in this great country of ours, then you're going to have a difficult time, if not an impossible time, to be issued a green card. You cannot be on public assistance. Your U.S. citizen sponsor has to be taking care of you financially. Housing, clothing, medical, everything. Okay? So read this part very carefully about public charge, part 9. And then you're going to come all the way down. And in Karina's case, she came all the way down, paging down, and she checked that, none of this applies to her. She's never going to be on public charge. She's not a public charge. I do not fall under any of the exempt categories listed above, so she's not being exempt, okay, for the public charge. That's what you need to check. Then you got to figure out your household size. If you are just the two of you, you put 2. Remember, there's no such thing as a household size of 1. It's going to be a minimum of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. And then you're going to indicate how much money you make per year, estimated. Check the box that is closest to you. Underneath that, you're going to identify the total value of your household assets, the equity in your house, your car, your stuff, everything you own. And then you're going to identify the total value of your household liabilities, which is, do you have a big debt on your credit card? How much money do you owe? What's your mortgage on your house? How much money do you owe on your house, etc.? Do you have a car payment? How much more money do you owe on your car? You got to calculate it, and your liabilities, check the box that pertains to you. And then paging on down a little bit more, you can list your Right here, you want to put in there your education level under list of certifications. You know, Karina has she's a master cake designer. She has a degree in tax accounting. She was a director of accounting. So she was certified as an accountant when she was in Venezuela. She was certified as a cake designer when she was in Colombia. Immigration want to know, what are your skills? You could be a mechanic. You could have a doctor or an engineer. Whatever it is you have, list your certifications here for immigration. Okay, this all pertains to the beneficiary, not the sponsor. This is all about the beneficiary, the foreign national applying for the green card. You got it? It's easy, guys. And then they ask you some more questions. Have you ever received supplemental security income, SSI? No. You don't want to say yes. And then moving on down, if you haven't received any government benefits in the United States, you're going to put NA in all these boxes here. Just the first ones where it says benefit received, you put NA in there. NA. Like I said, you don't want to leave any boxes unchecked. If it doesn't pertain to you, you're going to put not applicable. So this makes the job much easier for the immigration officer to adjudicate your paperwork. He or she can look through the pages and see the NAs, and then that person's eyes can then skip past this information and will know it doesn't pertain to you. And now they're going to ask you questions about illegal entries and other immigration violations. Have you ever failed or refused just read the questions here regarding your past immigration status. Have you ever falsely claimed to be a U.S. citizen? Are you under a final order or civil penalty for violating the Immigration and Nationality Act, etc., etc.? Karina checked no on every box because she's not in violation of any immigration laws. Okay? She came here legally, like everybody should, right? You should be coming here legally. You shouldn't be trying to fraud the system. Removal, unlawful presence, or illegal re-entry. No, she's never been in the country illegally. So she checked no on those pages. And then Part 9 continues, general eligibility and inadmissibility grounds. Continues, read the questions very carefully, answer them truthfully, and check the box that pertains to you. Okay? It's either going to be a yes or a no. For Karina, it's a no. And these are, questions that you must answer in order. If you skip it, there'll be issues. Now, if it doesn't pertain to you, that's when you can skip it on the box when you check in the box. Miscellaneous conduct. They ask you all these questions about your character or any violations. Have you ever renounced U.S. citizenship to avoid paying taxes in America, etc., etc.? None of these apply to Karina, so she checked no on all of these questions. Miscellaneous conduct. Check no, she checked no, she checked no, because it didn't pertain to her and she's never done any of these things. Her character is exemplary, and that's what immigration wants. They want people with an exemplary character to enter this country. Coming on down to Part 10, applicants' contact information. What's Karina's cell phone number? What's her we don't have a home number, we just have a cell phone. And then she signed the form, first name, middle name, using her married name, Karina, middle name Ross, and then dated it, month, day, year, and her interpreter put her information right here, the family name, last name, and etc. But if you don't have an interpreter, you put NA. Karina had an interpreter because she doesn't speak English. Well, she's learning. But so if you don't have an interpreter, if you can understand English, Mr. Beneficiary, Miss Beneficiary, when you fill out this form, I-485, just put NA. But make sure you sign the form. If somebody helped prepare the form for you, other than your American citizen sponsor or yourself, you put that person's name in there and contact information. If nobody helped you fill out this form, if you did it yourself at your house with your husband or wife, you put NA in there. Don't leave any boxes unchecked. NA. Karina and I filled out her I-485 with her interpreter translating the documents for her. So we put NA in the preparer's information, but we put her translator's name under the translator. Don't pull any pages out of here either. Make sure you submit the entire package of information. Part 13 is done at the, if you go for your 2-year green card interview, which you probably will. This is reserved for the immigration officer. Don't worry about it. And then below here, your final page is if you want to add any additional information. You know, you couldn't fit your fiance, so now your wife's name, full name, because she has such a long name or she had such a long address in her country of origin that you couldn't fit it on the paperwork. This is the place where you can add additional information. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That is the paperwork completed.
Hey, stop. Hey, they're coming, man.